friend of the show, Kevin Sorbo, has really likes to tweet. In fact, I believe he Andy, tell us about this image. What's going on with this?
At CPAC, Kevin Sorbo decided to line his coat with a lining of his tweets.
Yeah, right. So the man loves his tweets, and you can see why. So I think we have an example, so you can really soak in the insight. So Kevin Sorbo says, referring to the COVID vaccine, if the shots were given away for free because they're life-saving, why isn't insulin free? Chemotherapy? EpiPens? So all I could think is, God, our man is so close to getting it here. Like he is so close to a conceptual breakthrough about what should in fact happen with healthcare policy.
I think you could tweet that exact same thing, and no one would bat an eye because they would be making the same exact point, but from the left.
Yeah, right. It'd be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It's a Monday. Ben's like tweeting about Medicare for all stuff. Like
not his best tweet, but he's. I'm sure he's got to get a bunch of posts out.
yeah. Kevin Sorbo has said many strange and embarrassing things, but I want to focus on this one. So, because the last thing that I kind of did, well, actually, it's not completely the last thing, I should say. We'll talk about this next week. I did write something for Current Affairs that it's in the print issue. It's not online yet. But the last thing I wrote before then was for the Daily Beast, and it's an article called What Happened to Medicare for All. And the basic point that is being made in that article is, if you remember 2020, I know, it's a long time ago, but, like if you could stretch your mind back to the 2020 election cycle, there were, I think, I might be getting the exact hour wrong. I think there were 100 million hours of Democratic debates in 2019 and 2020 involving various combinations of candidates. And every single goddamn one of them had at least half an hour spent arguing about the details of healthcare policy. It was like, oh, should we have Medicare for all? Which, not just Bernie, like several of the other candidates, like Kamala Harris initially said she supported that. Or is that going too far? And should we only have a public option whereby every single American who wants to buy into it can go on Medicare? That was the moderate position in the 2020 cycle. And like Biden's campaign website still says, yeah, exactly. If Russia's invasion of Ukraine is illegal, why wasn't the invasion of Iraq illegal? It's like, again, right, teetering on the edge of something here, but like that was the moderate position. Biden's campaign website still says that he'll establish a public option whereby every single person, whether they're currently uninsured, whether they're currently on employer insurance, no matter what their situation is, every single person who wants to should be able to get government health care. And again, it still says so on the campaign website, but it's not just that it hasn't happened, right? Because if all it was that it hadn't happened, you could blame Manchin and Sinema, or you could blame, I don't know, the Senate parliamentarian, any of the things they do, to like pass the buck for like why like nothing good has happened. But they haven't even talked about it, like any of this. Like it's just completely disappeared into the ether. And yeah, I think Mayor Pete actually did say that for a minute before he changed his mind and became a public option guy, that Medicare for all was the middle ground, which is actually a correct point because, you could go all the way to the British system and have the government own the hospitals and pay the doctors. Like this is actually literally still a middle ground. And by the way, you should do that. The NHS is great. But this just completely disappeared. And it's just hard to avoid the impression that it's going to continue to disappear. Like that if we hear about it again, it won't be till 2024 if Biden has a heart attack or something and we have a contested primary in 2024. Otherwise, we're not going to hear about it again until 2028 because that just seems like how this goes.
Yeah, and I mean, now with the drums of war beating, I mean, hopefully they, the government's responsible. But I think that, with all these distractions, there's no way that they're going to focus on this domestic stuff like that. They weren't going to do it anyway, but now
they certainly weren't doing it before, but they're really not going to do it now. You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive post-games on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.